All right, let's start seated. Starting with both bum cheeks and sit bones firmly on the chair. Maybe rocking side to side, forward to back, finding that centered place where your spine feels long, where the balance of your weight feels evenly distributed through both sit bones. Adjusting your feet so that they feel nice and firm on the floor. Finding a sense that the crown of the head lifts up, stretching into the spine or lengthening the spine. Maybe not quite actively stretching yet, but just a spaciousness. It might feel good to wiggle any parts of your body as you settle in that just feel like they need a little something. I feel my toes are kind of lifting and coming back down, so maybe wiggling the toes a little bit, lifting and placing them back on the floor. Maybe the hands or wrists just need a little attention or stretch before we settle into stillness. Maybe it would feel good to find a little shrug of the shoulders before allowing the shoulders to settle down away from the ears. Maybe it would feel good to just move into the neck in any way that feels good before finding a little bit of stillness, a place where you can notice your breath, notice the body. Maybe taking a couple of sighs as we settle in. Maybe a deep breath in, sighing it out a few times if it feels good. Eyes can stay open or closed. And then as you start to sink into a little bit of stillness, noticing the subtle movements that still happen, our heart still beats, your breath still moves. So noticing the subtle movements of your body as you find stillness. Finding enough stillness that you can notice these small movements. Now that we've settled into stillness, avoiding those inclinations to fidget. See if you can breathe through the desire to wiggle your fingers or toes or move the head, or just being here, breathing. Letting go of any need to control the breath. And just noticing your body breathe. You find that your body still fidgets a little bit, forgiving yourself. It's pretty natural. But noticing where the fidgets happen. Seeing if you can keep your awareness focused on the breath and how the body moves as you breathe. Settling into this tall seat, maybe finding a little more softness of the shoulders. A slight extra lengthening of the spine or crown of the head upward. Maybe a softening of the belly, allowing the breath to flow a little more smoothly and easily. Let's stay here for about 3 more breaths, just watching the body, observing the breath. Noticing any desire to fidget, where it shows up. fluttering your eyes open if the eyes are closed. If the palms are face down on your thighs, let's flip the palms so that the palms are facing up. And we'll start by drawing the tip of each finger to the tip of the thumb in turn. Maybe starting with the first finger and releasing. Middle finger to tip of the thumb and releasing. If your fingertips don't quite reach, just imagining that they do, bringing the intention of drawing now ring finger to tip of thumb and releasing. And pinky to tip of the thumb and releasing. Either leaving hands palms up, or if it feels better to have palms down, returning to that. Let's move gently into the neck, inhaling in center. And as you exhale, let's turn the head to the left. Inhaling back to center. And as your exhale arrives, turning over to the right. Keeping it gentle. Noticing any areas of stickiness or resistance. Moving with your own breath. Inhaling to center and exhaling to one side. Once more on each side. Making your way back to center as you feel you've done both sides evenly. Noticing sensations in your neck or wherever else they arise. Maybe the shoulders, maybe the base of the skull. When your next inhale arrives, keeping the head facing forward. As you exhale, tipping the chin down towards the chest this time. Let's breathe here for 2 cycles of breath. Imagine that you could create a little more space with the breath in the back of the neck. Imagining that you could direct your breath to the back of the neck. As you're ready with an inhale, let's tip the chin up, maybe tipping the head up towards the ceiling, not going to your fullest movement here, about 60%. Keeping the back of the neck long. And as your exhale arrives, drawing the chin back towards the chest. Again, moving with breath, inhaling to lift the gaze, lifting the head, tipping the chin up. And exhaling to draw the chin back down towards the chest. Moving with the rhythm of your own breath, honoring your own body. Eyes can be open or closed. Moving through this movement about twice more, or 2 cycles of breath. As you're ready, making your way back to center, head facing forward. Noticing any sensations in the neck here. From here, let's tip the head from side to side. So we'll be drawing one ear towards one shoulder. Inhaling in center. As you exhale, let's tip right ear to right shoulder. Tilting the head on a diagonal. Inhaling back to center. Exhaling in the other direction, left ear to left shoulder. Moving with your breath again, inhaling to center. Exhaling to gently tip to one side. Inhaling back to center as your breath arrives. Exhaling. One more time each side. Moving with your breath. Making your way back to center as you're ready. Pausing here. And then we'll play with this movement a little bit more. As you're ready, inhaling in center, exhaling right ear towards right shoulder. And this time we'll stay here for a couple of breaths. If it would serve you, we could reach the left arm out towards the side and swim the arm forward and back, deciding if that helps or hinders, whether it serves you, maybe up and down. It might accentuate the stretch, or you might find a sticky area that just feels good. If it doesn't serve you, feeling free to bring your left hand back to your lap. Then wherever you are, releasing the left hand back to your lap, and let's turn the nose towards the right shoulder. Breathing here for a breath or two. Before turning the ear back towards the shoulder, and then tilting the head back up to center. Noticing any differences from one side of your neck to the other, maybe in your upper back, just noticing where the sensations are. Again, as you're ready, inhaling in center, tipping left ear to left shoulder. Breathing here. Would it serve you to draw the right arm out away from your body, maybe swimming the arm back and forth or up and down? Changing or accentuating or playing with the stretch in the side of the neck. If the right hand isn't serving you or doesn't feel like it's helping with anything, it can always come back to your lap. And then everyone releasing right hand to lap. And let's tip the nose towards the right shoulder. Left shoulder, excuse me. Breathing here for a breath or two. And then drawing left ear back towards left shoulder. Tipping the head back up to center. Noticing sensations. Let's move down into the shoulders. Option either to find some shoulder rolls with hands either in the air or resting on your lap. If it would feel good to bring fingertips to shoulders, that's an option as well. Fingertips could also, if it feels good to have the hands lifted, they could come towards your low ribs. Switching directions of the shoulders as you're ready. And then releasing hands to your lap. Noticing sensations on the shoulders, noticing how they feel. Maybe they're a little more lubricated or warmed up. Let's move down into our spine a little bit. Let's actually draw hands out towards the sides. And then we'll sweep right arm over left, drawing hands to shoulders. The elbows can come in front of your body. If it doesn't feel good to lift the hands all the way up to the shoulders, you could also cross the arms a little lower, reaching for sort of rib area. Inhaling, let's draw the elbows up any amount. As you exhale, we'll curl in towards ourselves, pulling the elbows in towards the belly, rounding the spine and spreading the area between the shoulder blades. Let's stay here, breathing for 3 breaths, imagining that you could create a little more space between your shoulder blades, lengthening that upper spine. After about 3 breaths, making your way back up to center. Releasing the arms back to your lap. Noticing any sensations in the upper back. Spreading the arms wide with an inhale. Exhaling to sweep the left arm over the right this time. Same idea, reaching for the opposite shoulders. Inhaling to lift the elbows any amount. Exhaling to draw the elbows in towards the belly. Another 3 breaths here, breathing space between the shoulder blades, creating some space in the upper spine. If it feels good to release the head down, that is an option. As you're ready, inhaling back up. Releasing the hands back to your lap. Noticing sensations in the upper spine. Let's play with our twisting. Let's bring right hand to the left shoulder. Either left hand can come to the hip, or the back of the hand can rest on your low back or sacrum area. Inhaling nice and tall. As you exhale, turning the shoulders towards the left. If you feel you're getting stuck by the back of your chair, it might feel good to slide forward on your sit bones, allowing a little more space between you and the back of the chair. If it feels good for the neck, you could turn the head to look in the direction of your left shoulder or over your left shoulder. We'll stay here for 2 more breaths. Inhaling to imagine the spine could lift. Exhaling to settle into the twist. Making your way back to center with an inhale. Releasing the right hand, releasing the left hand. Taking an in-between breath. And let's set up on the other side, bringing left hand to right shoulder. Right hand either to your hip or the back of the hand, come to the low back or sacrum. With an inhale, drawing the spine up tall. As you exhale, turning the shoulders to the right. With every inhale, thinking about the spine lengthening, crown of the head reaching up. And with every exhale, settling into the twist. Keeping the legs and sit bones nice and firm. Maybe looking over your right shoulder if it feels okay for the neck. And then unwinding with an inhale, coming back to center. Releasing hands. And let's move now in another way for our spine. We've got our cats and cows and our side bends. For today, for the side bends, let's bring hands to hips. Drawing the spine up nice and tall again. As you exhale, tipping over to one side, either side, but keeping the opposite side of your bum really heavy as though you were drawing away. Inhaling back to center as you're ready. Exhaling to the other side. Inhaling to center. About twice more on each side, moving with your breath. One more round. And then settling back to center as you're ready. Releasing the hands. Noticing sensations in the side body. And let's move into our cats and cows. I'll turn sideways so you can see the movement I'm making a little more clearly. Setting yourself up as usual with the sit bones nice and firm, feet firmly on the floor. The hands can rest either on the knees or anywhere along the thighs. Let's start with an inhale in neutral. And as you exhale, pushing the thighs or knees away, spreading the shoulder blades apart and pulling the belly towards the back of the chair, rounding like a Halloween cat. With an inhale, drawing the chest and belly forward, maybe lifting the gaze any amount, drawing the shoulder blades towards each other behind you. Again, exhaling to round the spine, pushing the knees or thighs away, belly towards the back of your chair. Inhaling to bring chest and belly forward through the upper arms, gaze lifts. About 2 more rounds, moving with your own breath. As you're ready, making your way back to your tall seat. Noticing how the front and back of your torso feel, how your spine feels. Moving down into the legs and hips. If you're a little far back on your chair, moving the sit bones so that they're still supported but close to the edge of the chair. And let's start with the right leg. Drawing the knee up towards your chest with or without hands, either holding underneath the thigh and drawing the leg up towards you. Or if you're feeling strong and adventurous, drawing the knee up with no hands. Noticing how it feels, how far. As we practice this, maybe the distance your foot gets from the floor increases every week. Holding either around the thigh, around the shin, or around the knee. Let's start moving in circles. Maybe the circles get a little bigger. Exploring your range of movement. And maybe you need less support of your hand. Maybe the leg can move a little bit on its own. It's just some gentle support from hands or fingers. Or maybe no hands, playing. What's possible? Playing with the possibilities. Switching directions as you're ready. And then releasing right foot back to the floor. Noticing differences from one hip to the other, one thigh to the other. And then let's move with the left leg, either drawing the thigh up towards you using your hands, or maybe using no hands, bringing the thigh as much as possible up towards you before grasping the thigh. Holding either underneath the thigh, around the knee, or around the shin, wherever feels good. And we'll start to move the left leg in circles. And again, playing with the idea of maybe the leg can do a little more work with a little less support from the hand. Maybe it feels better to keep this more passive in the leg, using more of the arm for support. Switching directions as you're ready. Maybe the leg can do a circle on its own, maybe not. Eventually releasing left leg back to the floor. Giving yourself the pause, noticing sensations. Maybe your thighs could use a little massage, a little rub. And then moving over to right leg. Let's lift just enough so the foot comes off the floor and we can find some ankle circles. Switching directions as you're ready. Let's point and flex the foot a couple of times. And then release right leg to the floor, giving yourself that in between, noticing difference in sensation from right foot to left. And then lifting left leg just enough to bring the foot off the floor. Finding ankle circles, left side. Switching directions as you're ready. Let's point and flex the foot a few times. And then releasing left foot back to the floor. Pausing, noticing sensations now on the left foot. Any differences from right to left. And let's move into our sun salutations. So setting up in the way that feels best in your body, whether knees are about hip width distance or maybe they're a little wider. Knowing as we come to our forward fold, what feels best in your body, whether it's some compression between belly and thighs, or whether it feels better to have the space to move through a little bit. So setting yourself up, and then deciding where the hands are going. We've got lots of options to sweep the hands, whether it's up and overhead, maybe the palms meet, maybe the arms come wide, maybe the arms come into a cactus shape. Maybe they come wide and level with shoulders, or even a little bit lower. So we've got all of these options in our sun salutation. Sometimes it can feel good even to close your eyes as you move through, especially when picking where your arms are so you're not influenced by what everybody else is doing and really noticing what feels good in your body. As you're ready, tall seat, crown of the head lifts. Nice inhale and exhale here. And then when you're ready, inhaling to sweep arms wherever they're going. Exhaling, hands to your thighs. Inhaling to find the cow pose. Chest comes forward, belly comes forward, lifting the gaze. Exhaling to round the spine like a Halloween cat, spreading the shoulder blades, belly towards the back of the chair. Inhaling back to a tall and neutral spine. Exhaling to fold forward your version. Maybe forearms come to thighs or fingertips trace the shins, or maybe the hands come down to the floor. Inhaling to sweep right arm up into a twist. Exhaling, right arm comes down. Left arm sweeps up into a twist with an inhale. Exhaling, left arm comes down. Inhale, both arms sweep up, maybe overhead, maybe wide. Where are the arms headed for you today? Exhaling, hands back to thighs, finishing in a tall seat. Taking a breath here. Preparing for our next round. As you're ready, inhale to sweep arms up and overhead, or wide, or cactus. Exhaling, hands to thighs. Inhaling to draw the chest and belly forward, shoulder blades pull together, gaze lifts. Exhaling to round the spine, Halloween cat. Inhaling back to a tall and neutral spine. Exhaling to fold forward. Maybe forearms come to thighs, or fingertips might trace shins, or hands might come to the floor. Inhaling to sweep right arm up into a twist. Exhaling, right arm down. Inhale, left arm sweeps up into a twist. Exhale, left arm comes back down. With your next inhale, coming back to a tall seat, arms spreading wide, maybe reaching up and overhead, or to cactus, or arms wide. Exhaling, hands back to thighs. Finding that tall seat. Resetting, crown of the head high. Setting your intention for our last sun salutation. Do the feet need to shift at all? Where are your arms headed? Setting yourself up, visualizing where you're headed. As you're ready, inhaling to sweep arms wherever they're headed. Exhaling, hands back to thighs. Inhaling to draw chest and belly forward through the upper arms, gaze lifts. Exhaling to round the spine, Halloween cat, shoulder blades spread. Inhaling back to a tall and neutral spine. Exhaling to fold forward, maybe forearms come to thighs or fingertips trace shins, maybe fingertips to the floor. Inhaling, right arm sweeps up into a twist. Exhaling, right arm comes back down. Inhale, left arm sweeps up into a twist. Exhale, left arm comes back down. Inhale, both arms sweep up and maybe overhead or wide, drawing you back to a tall seat. Exhaling, hands to thighs. Pausing for a moment, noticing any flow of energy or any sensation that's happening. And then let's come to standing. We'll spend a little more time in standing poses today because I feel like we've skipped out in previous weeks. Drawing the heels in towards your chair a little bit. And we'll come up through chair, working the legs, working the core a little bit. Let's bring hands either to prayer or hands to hips. Start to shift your weight into your heels and lift just off your chair. Hovering over your chair, breathing. Let the breath flow as smoothly and easily as possible. Stay here for one more full breath. And then coming all the way to standing. Releasing hands. Maybe wiggling into the thighs a little bit if that would feel good. And let's find ourselves standing with the support available of the backrest of the chair. So we'll play again with some high lunges today. Starting off with both feet nice and firm on the floor. Your feet might be hip width distance or a little wider, depending on how stable your body feels. Finding your strongest stance. Maybe the hands rest on the chair, maybe the hands are down by your side. But imagining that your body is, all the joints are stacked. Knees over ankles, hips over knees, shoulders over hips, ears over shoulders, crown of the head lifting. Upper back and upper chest are both broad, like the shoulders are reaching outward. Feeling as though the soles of the feet were pushing into the mat or into the floor. Activating some muscular action in your legs. Feel that the weight is evenly distributed from one foot to the other and even along both soles of your feet. This is mountain pose, releasing mountain pose. Let's keep the right foot where it is and step the left foot back any distance, finding a high lunge. So with your hands supported by the chair, or if you're feeling really stable, hands could come to hips. And we'll bend into the front knee a little bit, playing with that bend and finding a depth that feels good. So it might feel good to shift the distance. It might feel better to have the feet a little closer or a little further. So playing with that a little bit. And maybe it feels good to have very little bend in the knee. Maybe it feels good to have more of a bend in the knee. So finding your best variation of a high lunge. The back foot can be high on the toes. You could be reaching the heel down towards the floor, finding a bit more stretch in the back of the left leg. And then once you've found your perfect variation, let's leave the right hand supported on the chair and we'll bring left hand to the hip. From here, how would it feel to turn the shoulders to the left, almost as though you were drawing your left elbow back? Does that change any sensation in the front of the left hip? And let's bring left hand we'll turn forward again, doing the twist. And then how would it feel either to bring the hand back to the chair, or maybe the left arm sweeps up. Maybe it sweeps wide, depending on how moving the left arm and the left hip, if at all. Maybe swimming the arm back and forth. If it's reaching up and overhead, maybe sweeping forward and back. And either bringing the left hand back to the chair, one more option. If it felt okay to have the left arm reaching up and overhead, how would it feel to tip your body over to the right? The hand could be on the hip as well. So noticing how this changes any feeling in the front of the left hip. As you're ready, releasing the arm, bringing hands back to the chair, and let's step forward. We've been in the lunge for a little while. Finding any wiggling that would feel good, wherever you're feeling it. Maybe the outer right hip, maybe the front of the left hip. Let's give the legs a shake one at a time. And then we'll move to the other side. So finding that tall and strong mountain pose. Both feet stable, legs quite active, joints stacked, crown of the head lifting. And then keeping the left foot where it is, this time we'll step the right foot back, staying high on the toes or reaching the heel down in the direction of the floor. And again, giving yourself a few moments to play. Is the distance of your feet good? Do we need to adjust that a little bit, widening or making them more narrow? Playing with the knee. How far does the left knee feel good to bend? Does it feel better to have a shallow bend or a deeper bend? Giving yourself a few moments to find your perfect stance. Maybe it would feel good to draw right heel down towards the floor, stretching into the back of the right leg. Maybe that leg feels better to have a little bit more softness in the knee. Settling into your favorite variation, the one that feels best today. Keeping the left hand on the chair, let's bring right hand to the hip. How would it feel to turn the torso or shoulders towards the right, as though you were drawing right elbow back? Remembering to breathe. How does that change, or does it change anything in the front of the right hip? Making your way forward once more. Either releasing the hand back to the chair, or maybe sweeping right arm either up to shoulder height or up and overhead, and noticing how that changes the feet sensation in the front of the right hip. If the arm is about shoulder height, maybe swimming the arm back and forth. And if the arm is reaching up and overhead, maybe swaying it forward and back. Another breath here. Releasing right hand to the chair. One more option. If it felt okay for the hand to reach up and overhead, We could tip the body over to the left, reaching right fingertips over to the left, and noticing how that changes the stretch or sensation in the front of the left hip. The hand could also be on the hip, just tipping the body or shoulders over to the left. One more breath here. Then inhaling back upright, releasing the hand back to the chair. And let's step the back foot forward. Again, finding any release that would feel good, maybe wiggling the hips a little bit. Let's shake out each leg again. Might feel good to find some wrist circles, even though they were just supporting us a little bit. Not too much weight was in them this time. And let's find a gentle balance. So starting with, you can face your back of the chair as well, as long as you've got some support when available, when needed. Let's start by standing on the left foot, letting the right foot get light. So option, the tips of the right toes might stay on the floor. From here, we could pivot the right knee out to the right. This could be the balance today. Maybe it would feel good to lift the foot, bringing the sole of the foot to the ankle or shin. Maybe it feels good to have the foot lifted, but have support of the hand. Maybe it feels better to have both the toes on the floor, but then be able to play with balance. Or maybe you're feeling so steady today, and the foot could be lifted and the hands could be lifted. Deciding where you want to be. Remembering to breathe. Sometimes the support of the toes on the floor can relieve a little bit of the weight of the standing leg, allowing just a little more support. As you're ready, swinging right knee forward again and releasing to the floor. Again, finding any counter movements that might feel a bit good. And we'll switch sides. This time standing on the right leg. Left toes start to get light. Maybe coming onto the tips of your toes and pivoting the left knee out to the left. This might be enough today. Maybe you're playing with balance here. If it would feel good to lift the left foot, bringing the sole either to the ankle or shin, that's an option too. Deciding where you want to be. And remembering to breathe. Hands can be wherever they feel good. One hand can be floating around like branches, or hand on hip, wherever feels good. Remembering to breathe, knowing you've got the support of your left toes if necessary or wanted. Swinging left knee forward once more. And releasing left foot to the mat or floor. Beautiful. Let's reach arms either to hips or up and overhead, depending on how it feels for you today. As you exhale, let's tip over to one side. Inhaling back to center. Exhaling other side. Back to center on the inhale. And releasing hands, making our way back to the chair. Maybe resting against the backrest if you have one. Allowing the hands to rest wherever they feel good. Maybe the feet walk a little bit ahead of you. So we're in a much less rigid position. And you can start to let go of any control of breath and allow your breathing to return to its natural rhythm. Taking about 3 cycles of breath here, just allowing the body to return to its natural breath. Letting go of practice. And as we close practice, hands can stay exactly where they are if they're comfortable. If it would feel good to bring hands over heart or hands into Anjali Mudra or prayer position, you can close practice that way as well. Sending gratitude to yourself, first of all, for making the time to practice, to move and breathe in community. With gratitude for allowing me to guide you this morning. And with gratitude to all the students and teachers who've come before us, passing down this practice. Peace. Thank you all very much for joining me today.